Hey folks, this is Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Avon Park field. Alright, y'all remember when I lost this plane and them power lines down there? And well, Cessna, the Cessna and those power lines, well, FMS took pity on me and took $259 or $69 of my money and let me buy a new one. And so we're going to do the maiden flight. Now, I was testing out the Reflex version 3, and I'll be honest, after the vigorous dragon experience and a little more research, I'm not a big fan of that Reflex version 3, just to be perfectly honest, so I didn't reinstall that in this. Instead, I have an AR631 and a Spectrum receiver, and I got the full Spectrum, the safe AS3X and manual mode, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the manual flight, maiden flight manual, get her trimmed, and then we'll fly her an AS3X, and then I'll see if I can give you a safe demonstration. All right, let's get to it. Timer set for 5.5 minutes, around a 2700 4S. All the way forward. Alrighty, right, left, up, down, right, left. I'm gonna get turned around here. We go to manual mode. Let me get turned around. Let me get on the across the front of the camera here. All right. Going into the wind, so we do not need takeoff flaps. Like I say, I'm in manual mode. I want to see how she's trimmed. Timer set for 5.5 minutes. Here we go. Needs a little bit of down elevator. Not too bad.
Time remaining 5 minutes.
All right, I'm liking that. All right. Okay, I'm happy with her trim. We get her turned around, we'll land her. We'll put her in AS3X mode. All right, but something this plane's got.
Braking.
Wow, too much grass. All right, put her in AS3X mode now.
AS3X mode.
We'll go down here. Take off an AS3X and we'll get a little more aerobatic with the plane. Like I say, I'm going into the wind, so I really don't need takeoff flaps right now.
Time remaining 4 minutes.
Nice scale takeoff there. All right. Yeah, all right. Liking the way she's flying. She seems to be plenty, handling the wind, no problem. We got about a 10 to 8 mile an hour cross breeze. So. On my rudder. All righty. Okay. Now we're going to switch to safe mode.
Manual mode.
Or
safe mode.
go to safe mode now. So now we'll do a landing and takeoff in safe. Y'all know I don't like safe because I don't like giving up the control. But this is the idea of what a beginner would be looking at. All right, taking off in safe. Oh man, that's as far as I can bank it. It will not let me turn that plane over.
Remaining 3 minutes.
I cannot turn that plane over no matter what I do. Out of the power now. Staying on my rudder because that wind is wanting to turn me. All right, and kept her on a runway. Okay, so there we got,
Full mode. AS3X mode.
there we've got all 3 levels demonstrated. Took off and landed in manual, AS3X mode, and safe. Now let's go back to AS3X mode and continue our flight. And let's see how I like flaps. Even though
Takeoff
it's
flaps.
windy, I still want to know how they're going to react. Now hopefully if I got these flaps right, I should be able to take off without having to use any elevator input. So we shall see. Barely. Just had to use a little bit of elevator. Just not much at all.
Flaps up.
All right. And the wind has kind of started to slow down now. All right. So let's check our
Time remaining 2 minutes.
flap settings now
Landing flaps.
for landing flaps. Yeah. Just slightly. Just slowing me down just enough to be controllable, but still keeping enough airspeed
Flaps up.
to where I got lift. Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to land with landing flaps now. AS3X is active.
Landing flaps.
Okay. Still got to stay on the rudder, still got to keep up enough throttle for forward momentum. Whoa. All right, let's get it turned around. Let's redeem ourselves. Didn't have enough airspeed, and that's what happened. All right.
Takeoff flaps.
Take off flaps again. Like I said, I really don't necessarily need flaps right now,
Flaps up.
but I want to see how they're working. It's just the things you do when you're maiden a plane.
Landing flaps.
You got to see how the plane's going to react, how it works. Yeah, she's much slower, so I need a little more throttle. There we go. Now that's what I was looking for. A nice. I don't want the pilot to have to spill his beer.
Flaps up.
Okay, now we're going to do something you really shouldn't do. We're going to take off kind of into the with the wind because you have less control. So definitely don't want to use flaps now. Now I want to see how the plane stalls. Okay, you're flying along, you lose power. Gonna hold the up elevator, holding up the elevator. Trying to hold it up, trying to see which way she goes. She's just gliding. Okay, so she just wants to slump forward a little bit. All right, now with the wind, lose the power, hold an elevator up, elevator up, elevator up. All right, she just wants to slump forward. Okay. All right, we're gonna start to run out of our time, so let's go ahead and land the plane.
30 seconds.
And let's get you a battery report.
Seconds.
All right. Remember, stay on your rudder. And brakes work real well. Reverse thrust. All right, let's go back to the bench in just a second, and we'll get you a battery report.
Prop secured.
Prop secured. 13 seconds left on a 5.5 minute timer. Let's go back to the bench and get you a battery report. All right, throttle cut is on, so no throttle. All right, let's check the timer or the battery. Push button for a top release. All right, battery's kind of warm. Heat is what kills a battery. 28%, so that's a perfect storage rate. Anywhere between 25 and 35 is perfect. Now let me show you where I've got that battery and the radio or the receiver. Now I've got the AR631 receiver right there with the antenna going straight back past Norman's head. That's where I've got the 2700 4S. Let me show you CG. They actually, I don't remember the actual numbers. I want to say it's 50 to 60 millimeters back, but for your convenience, they have it marked. You have these two quick release tabs underneath the wing. If you go to the very back tab and drag your finger out, you can actually feel the C and the G are right there. So find the very back of that tab, bring your finger out right there, and she CGs. Now I've got the wind at me right now, but she CGs just perfectly right there. The only mod I've done to this plane is given her a clear coat of that polyacrylic mid-wax just to protect it, just like sunscreen for your skin. That's all it is, just protects you. It's a little more long-term than your sunscreen though is. Let's get the battery out. We've already checked the battery. I'll just leave it in there for a second. But the plane has flaps. It's a top loader. The wheels do sound like a bunch of marbles in a tin can, but that's normal for these kind of models. Wheels are a little on the hard side, but you do have suspension in the front. It's got gas in there, and so it bounces back. You've got flaps, you've got lights. My rates that I flew in were 100% over 30% expo on the aileron. On the elevator, 100% over 30% expo, and on the rudder, I had 100% throws with 50% to kind of soften up that nose steering. Okay, now my flap systems is on a flight mode. Okay, so all I can tell you is I'll tell you what how my model adjusts. When I go to takeoff flaps, I have my elevator goes down by 5 clicks on that. I don't know what that percentage equates to, but it goes down by 5 clicks, and then when I do landing it goes down to 15 clicks of down elevator trim. Now that's on the monitor screen, but I don't have I have a flight mode in for landing flaps, not an actual mix per se. So you'd have to, I'll put BD Tennessee's video link in here on how to do flight mode mixes for flapped elevator mix. It's not that hard to fly, but the nice thing about it is you're able to figure out your flight and your elevator to flap mix per se in flight the first time without having to do the old-fashioned land, adjust, and all that. You can set it at one time, one shot and done. It's just an easier process. It seems a little complicated, but really it isn't. All right, well folks, there you go. That is the 1.5 meter SKYLANE FMS Cessna, my second one, because the first one was claimed by the powerlines when I was testing out the Reflex version 3. And I'll be honest, after my experience with the Vigorous Dragon, which I'd like to call a Vigorous Failure on FMS's parts, that little plane, that little jet's way underpowered, and the Reflex is an absolute joke. It's not, you have to change it to a different plane in order to make that plane fly right. But this plane here, And since I didn't like the way you can't customize, you can't change anything, not really. They say you can, but I went all through that app. You really, not really. You have to find a different plane that matches your needs better. And now you shouldn't have to do that. So I just went ahead and, I mean, if you buy a plane and you add the Reflex, well, the Reflex is $35, and you still got to buy a $25 to $50 receiver. Well, for that kind of money, just buy an AR631. It's got everything. You know, it's got, and you want to deal with one thing instead of two things. So, and it's completely customizable. So, just a smarter choice, in my opinion. All right, well, folks, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless y'all, and don't forget, faith, family, and friends, God is good. And that is the FMS Cessna 1.5 meter Skylane. Bye-bye.